Alright guys, so I kind of wanted to make this video. There's review videos of people riding betas that are much better than I am. So I'm not going to pretend I really know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to kind of go through the user experience to buying a beta, really. What it was like, and you know, how the bike is, yada yada yada. So that's the idea anyway.
The CBS mix.
Oh fuck!
Woo! It's okay, I'm just laying down.
You alright?
Oh yeah, I'm fine.
Oh shit! Oh! Oh!
It's like...
We'll start out with why did I choose the beta over other options such as KTM, Husky, and I'm sure Shirako probably throws in there too. But the reason really why is Beta, I've been looking at them for a while, and they're a pretty small company, but their bikes have a really good reputation. I don't think I've found anybody who has really hated a beta online or said really terrible things about them. So that was a big part of it. Another big part is a buddy of mine got his he got a 500 beta RRS for review from Beta themselves, and while I only spent a few minutes on it, it got me, you know, to the store checking out betas. And I really like the finished quality. I like the way that the bikes look. I really like I just like the overall styling of them, you know. It's pretty good. The other big consideration for me for buying a beta was that this bike was the right engine size, the right weight, and it was very it's a lot easier for me to get on. This bike's a fair bit shorter than the Huskies and the KTMs, and yeah, you can get like lower seats and, you know, lowering the suspension, whatever. But I really wanted something out of the box that I didn't have to mess with a lot, that I was comfortable on, and the beta is very confidence inspiring, even for a noob rider like me. Another thing that I really enjoyed about you know, looking at betas was I contacted Beta USA directly just to ask some questions, and Tom Pilg, really the dude that's in charge of the USA marketing and sales, responded to me directly, and that was great. I was very impressed with that. Beta also offers a pretty awesome wide range of models. So the betas range in the RRS format or the RR race editions. They range in 350, 390, 430, and 500. And that's pretty awesome, actually. I chose the 390 because it felt a lot like the DRZ's low-end track range. So this is a stroked motor, so that's basically, it's the 350 just stroked out, and all the engines and frames are the same between their models. They're just really the bore size and strokes are different, which is actually pretty cool. I mean, this bike is vastly different in feel from the 500, not just in terms of power, but power delivery. The 500 is, it's pretty beastly. And this thing, oh, it's so light, and I'm still getting used to the gearing and the engine power, and I'm trying to be gentle because I'm breaking in the motor, so not that I ever ride hard anyway, because I suck. But so far I'm really liking it. I think the weight's a huge thing from the DRZ. It is so easy, and this 390 really likes to kind of lug down low. The best feel that I can say for power, because they don't list their power specs, is it feels like a big bore DRZ with a pumper carb. like an E model DRZ, except a lot lighter. So the torque feels great, the engine power feels fantastic. So I'll cut over to my garage and talk about what the bikes come with when you buy them. They give you a whole box of stuff. It's pretty awesome.
Alright, let's check out some of the things I really like that have come with the bike, as well as I'll show some cool stuff that's kind of under the hood here. Alright. So the first one is definitely the Beta's seat. Not the comfort, because it is a very, very firm seat, but the release of the seat is pretty awesome. There's a single button. All you do is push it, it ejects, it slides right out, and there you go. That is literally how you take the seat off, and it's awesome. You get to your battery and everything else underneath here, which is pretty awesome. I really think that's probably one of my favorite designs. Another thing to note about the American models of the Betas is that they don't put lithium-ion batteries in them. They put just regular lead acid. So I think that's due to, of course, shipping and maybe cost or something along those lines. I'm not totally sure why. The manual does state that the Beta comes with a lithium-ion battery, and I feel like that's a much better battery for the size than what we give us. But I have to inquire more into as to why that is. All right, you can see the battery right there. Pretty cool stuff. Another cool thing that I really like about this bike is that the airbox just pops right off there. There's no screws or anything on it. I'll pop it off now because it's very self-explanatory. You can see the air filter right there up on top. This panel just literally just pops right off, and you can get to your air filter. Very, very awesome toolless design to get underneath in here. I think that's very helpful. All right, so we'll talk about my absolute favorite thing that comes with this bike, which is this owner's manual. And normally you think of an owner's manual and it's nothing special, and they just give you the basics to, for operating the bike, turning it on, yada, yada, yada. Well, Beta takes this definitely much further. Most of this is in other languages, but they go into great detail on how to operate and maintain the bike. They give you, let me flip through here real quick. But I mean, they give you all of the specifications for the bike, which is really awesome. I mean, there's nothing that they don't really tell you in here, and it's probably the most impressive owner's manual I've ever seen. And it's all common sense stuff. It's not like really ridiculous or stupid items. There's just some really good information in here for people that are used to riding or not. I mean, I would assume somebody who's spending 10 grand on a dirt bike probably knows most of these things already, and maybe that's the reasoning behind this. But they go along all of the maintenance and procedures in this manual. It's not just, hey, do this maintenance, take it to your dealer. They even go along how to adjust the forks, preload, compression, explain all of the settings on them, even setting your sag. Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with it. I honestly couldn't have asked for more. And then on Beta's website, they also offer the full service manuals for this bike, no charge. So that's great as well. Checking the oil on this bike's a little bit different. This bike has primary engine oil as well as crank and clutch, or not crank. It has gearbox and clutch oil separate. So it's a little bit different, but they're very clear, and all the steps are in awesome order. All of the bolts in here are labeled for what torque they're supposed to be at. Yeah, I mean, this is probably my favorite thing about buying this bike so far. So there's that. I'll stop babbling about the owner's manual, but definitely my favorite thing about buying a Beta so far anyway, aside from the bike itself. Another cool thing, well, they're not the greatest things in the world. It does include Beta flag handguards. They're cheap plastic, handguards. They probably wouldn't last very long from dropping it and stuff, but I like the sentiment that they included. I think it's pretty cool. I'll probably throw on some better ones, for the time being where I'm out riding right now. these are gonna do until I can get some more handguards, and they look good. I actually really like the look of these. Next thing that comes in the box when you buy a Beta, a 13 tooth sprocket. So from the factory, they come with a 15 tooth sprocket, which is, probably more geared for road, I guess. I wouldn't say that it's as road geared as what like a stock DRZ's first gear would be, but it's definitely kind of high. I don't know, we'll see. I'm out riding, so I need to go riding on it and see how I like. But chances are I'll be going to the 13 as soon as I get back from this ride, especially for the Silverton area. So I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it's not a super expensive thing or whatever, but it's a nice sentiment that they're like, hey, either you're gonna ride it on road more or off-road more technical stuff. I'll say in 6th gear, this bike does, holding 65 is no problem. I'd say it holds 65 under 3,000 RPM, and that's pretty outstanding for a dirt bike. In fact, there's no vibration. It feels really good. It's stable on the road. In fact, as a dual sport, I would say that this is way more comfortable as far as vibrations and noise than the DRZ. So, but another cool thing that they include with you when you buy a bike. This one's kind of a small one, but if you don't like these ginormous Mickey Mouse fold-out mirrors, they include you the mounts to put regular fold-down mirrors, which is really good, so you don't have to go about, finding new hardware and mounting stuff. So full license plate and reflector bracket kit. I'm sure this is probably a California thing. I don't know. It's ugly as hell. But yeah, we'll probably never use that. So another pamphlet that they give in the box, they go over the front forks use. I mean, this is great for someone like me who really has never messed with fork settings or anything. Like, I never had a bike that really had the need to, so, and I probably won't. Again, they feels pretty good, and we'll see. I might play with the dampening, but yeah, a lot of people praise these front forks on the 19 Betas, and yeah, they give you a really good explanation on how to use them properly, which, again, is very, very helpful. CDs have kind of gone by the wayside, but I definitely like the sentiment here. They give you the full manuals for the 19 Betas on disc, as well as the Tech Voyager. So that I like that. That's pretty cool. I mean, not a lot of people probably even have CD drives anymore, but I like the sentiment. It's like very thoughtful at the very least. Especially the Tech Voyager. If you've never owned one before, it took me a while to kind of figure out how to use it a little bit. So I didn't use the disc, of course. I just went on their website to pull up all the information. But I like that. It's once again kind of a nice touch. All right, and of course they give you a toolkit, and it's a pretty beefy toolkit. Like, there's some weight to that. I'll pull out a few of the things, but give you a pair of like really sturdy, good sized pliers with cutters on them. So Allen wrench with handle. That's very, very, very helpful. I actually think that's pretty cool. Flip around screwdriver, pretty standard, nothing special, but hey, it's there. Socket handle. And of course your stuff for your bolts, as well as adjusting the compression on the rear spring. So, pretty standard toolkit, but I like, actually, the quality of the parts feels, I would say, above that of most other toolkits that I got with my other bikes. So I like that. That's pretty good. They also give you way more reflectors than you'll ever need in your life, should your state require you to have reflectors all over the place. So nice touch from Beta, not necessary. But at least not for me. Another cool thing, which I'm not sure I'll put them on because it's probably a little bit more flamboyant. I like that the wheels are black anyway. But they give you RRS Enduro stickers for the wheels. And pretty high quality at that. They're pretty cool. I might not use them for on the wheels, but hey, it's kind of cool. Okay, my next favorite thing that they include with the bike is they give you oil for both the transmission and the engine for doing your first oil change. And Motul oil is not cheap. I mean, I'd say that probably the cheapest you can find these is like, what, 16, 17 bucks, maybe 15 somewhere. That's pretty expensive regardless, from what I've seen anyway. I probably won't keep using this stuff, but nonetheless, I really like that they include this with the bike. That's really nice, because after 3 hours, they recommend that you do your first oil change. And yeah, they do your first oil change and work on your break-in. So that's really awesome that they include that with it. I appreciate that. That's very helpful than trying to hunt it down. The only thing that I could say that I wish they would add to that is I wish they would give us the oil filter with it. Now, most places online have the oil filters from Beta directly that are really expensive. They're like $22 for an oil filter. Well, my local Beta dealer, Apex Sports, they have these, decent. I've used high flows before, so for $8. So that's actually huge. I was really kind of worried about the cost of oil filters, since I tend to do oil changes pretty often. So yeah, that's awesome to me. So
the engine's very smooth. I rode this all the way from Colorado Springs out to here, which is we're at 51 miles right now. So yeah, as a dual sport, because a lot of people say the Betas are just plated dirt bikes like the KTMs and Huskies, and there's truth to that. This is definitely more of an enduro than it is a real dual sport, maybe. But I gotta say, on the road, this thing was way more pleasant than my DRZ on the road. 6th gear is an absolutely amazing and wonderful thing. Yeah, it's like honestly the hardest part of the trail right there. Yeah, on the road, the bike's very stable. Now, one thing I do gotta do is I need to get the wheels balanced, because they obviously didn't balance them from the dealership. That is probably the only annoyance I have about buying this from Apex, is they didn't balance the wheels. They're kind of bouncy on the road, so that's okay. We'll get that sorted. But other than that, like, it sustains this, doing 60, 65 down the road. It's about as comfortable as every other dual sport I've ever been on. It does it easily too. Now, with the smaller sprocket, I would say, I don't know, this engine never really gets buzzed even near its top end. And I would say it's actually less vibration as you speed the engine up to a point. The bike's handling is very, very feather light. And I'm very used to heavy dual sports, so take it with a grain of salt, but the weight on this bike is 241 pounds without gas. That's with all other fluids though. So yeah, that I mean, it feels it, that's for sure. I'm just moving it around in my garage and going and doing this. Like, yeah, it feels great. It's just so easy to get this thing going with so little effort. I don't want to get myself too much in a bind here. Make sure I'm not driving into the water. So, while not a hard ride, it's definitely worth the views and kind of chilling at the end. This is the most growth I've seen here in a lot of years, and the most water I've seen. I remember I think even last year when I rode down here, the reservoir was probably about half this level. So yeah, anyways, so I got the bike parked here. We'll show some other goodies. So if I can show the forks here without getting too much here, I'll swap the sides. It'll be kind of upside down for you guys, but it'll be better. So you can see you've got dampening adjust on both the forks here, and then you got compression adjust on just this side for the spring, which is really cool. The adjustability is pretty awesome. Yeah, this is pretty cool for anybody who hasn't had one. Basically, you know, right there is going to show your miles per hour, your elevation, if you can't really see it there. But so it's very user friendly. Let's see if I can go down to the map. So there we are from 233. So very, very kind of cool and user friendly. That one's my average temperature for the bike, which is kind of cool to see. You can definitely tell when I was going really slow because it would heat up quite a bit. My average was 185. This bike does seem to get pretty toasty. Elevation, another cool one. So you can see I started the track out in Colorado Springs, so all the way down at like a little above 6,000 feet, riding above 9,000 feet for most of the ride, and then back down to 7,000 or almost, yeah, 7,800 is what it's at right now. So pretty cool. All right, some people pass by. So this is a stopwatch and kind of lets you know how far your destination is and your speed. It shows you where the satellites are in reference to your unit, essentially, or your bike. Kind of cool for me being a space guy working in you know, with satellites and GPS and stuff like that. So more gee-whiz than everybody else. Now on the main menu, there's other things you can use too, like odometer. This bike only has 72 miles on it now. Max speeds 55, average speed 21. Of course, that's most of me going down Rampart. At least I averaged that, I guess. I'm so terrible on dirt roads. Accumulated run time 3 hours 36 minutes. So good stuff. And then your next one just shows your temperature at the top, your tach gauge, and your miles per hour. The tach gauge is kind of cool. I would say it's probably not necessary in most cases, but yeah, I leave it on this one. But there's the Voyager unit in the nut case. Very nice inclusion.